Are you ready? Have you got some sunglasses? Because you're going to need it for this hot beat. Get up off your seat, gently to the beat. Come on, year one, multiply. Knowledge is the key. 2 times table. 1, 2 is 2. 2 twos are 4. 3 twos are 6. 4 twos are 8. 5 twos are 10. 6 twos are 12. 7 twos are 14. 8 twos are 16. 9 twos are 18. 10 twos are 20. 11 twos are 22. 12 twos are 24. Oh yeah. I hope you're ready to sound like a cheerleader. Let's go. Yeah, you got it. You really are a hero. The 5 times table either ends with a 5 or a 0. 1 times 5 equals 5. 2 times 5 equals 10. 3 times 5 equals 15. 4 times 5 equals 20. 5 times 5 equals 25. 6 times 5 equals 30. 7 times 5 equals 35. 8 times 5 equals 40. 9 times 5 equals 45. 10 times 5 equals 50. 11 times 5 equals 55. And 12 times 5 equals 60. Woohoo! Yeah! Now for your 10 times table, you're gonna need your guitar ready. Or you need your drums. Now for this song it says if you multiply a number by 10, all you have to do is add a 0 on the end. So you can't tell Miss Rachel I'm singing this song because she'll tell me it's not the right maths, but it helps us remember, doesn't it? So, are you ready? Let's go! If you want to multiply a number by 10, all you have to do is put a 0 on the end. If you want to multiply a number by 10, do is put a 0 on the end. Alright, let's say it. Let's do it. Times 1 makes 10. 10 times 2 makes 20. 10 times 3 makes 30. 10 times 4 makes 40. 10 times 5 makes 50. 10 times 6 makes 60. 10 times 7 makes 70. 10 times 8 makes 80. 10 times 9 makes 90. 10 times 10 makes 100. 11 times 10 makes 110. 10 times 12 makes 120. Oh yeah. Hi. Before we get started with today's session, you will need to know these 2 words. Okay? So we're looking at arrays, and this is an array when we put our equal groups in rows and columns. And they're the 2 words we're looking at today, row and column. Now remember this, row means across. So in Palm class, you sit in rows on the carpet, don't you, in your groups. So think about that in your head, you're sitting across. And when you're rowing a boat, you have to row a boat to cross the river. So row, 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 across, across. So rows are going across. Columns go down. So columns are these ones. So they go down, and you're counting down. So if I'm counting my rows in this array, I've got 1 row, I've got 2 rows, 2 rows. And in my columns, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 2 rows and 4 columns. Remember that when you're reading your books today. Good luck. Let's do some discovering. 1A. How many seeds are there in each row? So we're looking at this bit first. How many seeds are there in each row? Now, did I say rows went across or that rows went down? We've got to row across the river. So we're looking at each row. So it wants to know how many seeds are in each row. We'll let you count that at home. And then it asks how many rows are there? I think I've just helped you there by circling. And then it wants to know how many seeds in total. I wonder how we could work that out. If we know how many seeds are in each row, what would we do? 1B. Anaya plants her seeds like this. How many seeds are there in total? Now, I don't think it's a good use of our time counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would take too long if we did that. So what could we do with this question? Have a think at home and then we'll share together. So let's have a look and share. How many seeds are in each row? Did you get a chance to count them? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seeds. Now if you wanted to be able to count that a little quicker, you might be able to count them in twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we know there's 10 in each row. So how many in each row? The answer is 10. How many rows are there? 1 row, 2 rows. There are 2 rows. So if we know they're both equal groups, we've got 2 rows of 10. How many seeds in total? Let's have a look at our share page. Now they've drawn their number line. And what have they counted in? Yes, they've counted in tens. Why would they count in tens for? Because each row has got 10 in. There's 10 in this row and there's 10 in this row. So we're looking at 10 add 10. What is 10 add 10? You're right, we've got 10 add 10 more makes 20. So there are 20 seeds in total. Let's have a look at our 1B. Now this one was a bit cheeky, wasn't it? The top one gave us our rows by giving the soil a different colour. But this time, they just gave us one big patch, one big array for us to work out. Now in your share page, it shows you that they've made them into columns because columns go down. So we need to know how many seeds is in each column. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 seeds in each column, and we know they're all equal groups because they all go across as well, don't they? In our rows, our array is equal. So there must be 5 seeds in each column. How many columns are there? We've got 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. So we know there are 4 columns. So we've got our number line again here, and we're counting in 5s. Why would we count in 5s? Yes, because each column has 5 in. So we're looking at our repeated addition for 5s. How many jumps would we need to do? Yes, we need to do 4 jumps because there are 4 columns, 4 equal groups we are counting. We've got 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do we land? 20. So 5, add 5, add 5, add 5 gives us 20.
time to think together. It says complete these sentences for each array. We've got one array here. Oh, where's my finger? Here. We've got one array here and we've got one array here. He wants to know how many rows each array has, how many counters in each row, and how many counters in the whole array. Let's do this together. So I've drawn my arrays out onto my whiteboard so I could show you a little bit bigger. So A, our first array, looks like this. And the first question wants to know how many rows. Now, do my rows go across or do my rows go down? We row, row, row across the river. So we need to go across. So I have got one row and I have got two rows. One row, two row. So my first answer is 2. There are 2 rows. The next question wants to know how many counters in each row. So in my one row here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 counters in each row. And now it wants to know how many counters in this whole array. Now we don't want to count it one at a time because that would take us too long. So we know we've got 2 rows of 5 counters. So we're looking at 5 add 5. 5 add 5. What is 5 add 5? Yes, we know that one straight away. 10. So there are 2 rows of 5 counters, which gives us 10 in total. Let's look at our next array. How many rows does this array have? Rows go across or do rows go down? We row, row, row across the river. So let's row across. We've got 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. So the answer is 3. There are 3 rows. How many counters in each row? Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 counters. 3 rows of 5 counters. So we need to do 5, that's the first row, add 5, add 5. 5 add 5 add 5. If you need to draw your number line, you can, or you can do it in your 5 times tables. Ready? 5, 10, 15. The answer is 15. 3 rows of 5 counters gives us 15 in this array. Let's have a look at C. How many rows do we have in C? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have got 4 rows. How many counters in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 counters in each row. So we need to do 4 lots of 5, don't we? So 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. We could use this as our number line, couldn't we? 5, 10, 15, 20. There are 20 counters in this array. Now, one of the extra questions in the speech bubble says, I wonder what the next array would look like. So we've got 2 rows of 5 counters, 3 rows of 5 counters, and 4 rows of 5 counters. What would the next one look like? Have a little think at home and then I'll show you on here. I wonder if yours looks like mine. So we've gone from 2 rows to 3 rows to 4 rows and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We now have 5 rows. And to make sure they all stayed the same, they had 5 counters, 5 counters, 5 counters. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I still have my 5 counters. Excuse my squiggly handwriting. So I wonder how many's in this array. Let's have a look. 5, my first row, add 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. Wow, that's a lot of 5s, isn't it? Let's do our number line to count them. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 counters in this array. If you got that, you are a brilliant mathematician. Question 2 is the same, but instead of looking at our rows, we're looking at our columns. So we need to know how many columns are in our first A, our first array. So columns are going down. So here is my first column, counting downwards. So 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. So there are 3 columns. How many counters are there in each column? So in this 1 column we have got 2 counters. So now we need to work out how many in the whole array. So we're counting in 2s, and there's 3 columns. So 2, add 2, add 2. 2 for this column, 2 for this column, 2 for this column. 2, add 2, add 2, 2, 4, 6. So there must be 6 in this array. Let's try B. How many columns are there in B? Columns go down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns. How many counters in each column? In this 1 column we have got 2. There are 2 counters in each column. How many are there in this whole array? So we need to do 2, add 2, add 2, add 2 equals 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 in this array. Have a go by yourselves now doing C. How many columns are there in total going down? How many counters are in each column? And how many altogether? Then I would like you to have a go, just like we did before, working out what the next array would be. We've got 3 columns of 2 counters, 4 columns of 2 counters. Once you know this one, you'll be able to work out the next one. I'll leave you for a few minutes to work it out. Let's have a look then. So for C, you should have 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns with 2 counters in. So we need to do 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2 for our 5 columns. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you should have that as your answer. Now for your extension for our D, we had 3 columns of 2 counters, 4 columns of 2 counters, 5 columns of 2 counters, so you should have 6 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 columns with 2 counters in each column. So that would be 6 lots of 2. 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2. What would that be? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there will be 12 counters in total. If you got that, you're a fabulous mathematician. Let's have a look at A together. So here is my yummy chocolate box, and the first question is asking how many are there in each row. Rows go across the river. So how many are there in each row? So we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There are 2 sweets, chocolates in each row. How many chocolates are there in each column? The column goes down. So there are 1, 2, 3. There are 3 chocolates in each column. Now it's asking how many there are in total. Now I know we're better at counting in 2s than we are in 3. So I'm going to count in my 2s. So I'm going to do 2, add 2, add 2. How many is there in total? 2, 4, 6. There are 6 chocolates in total. Yum, yum in my tum. Let's have a try with B, and please excuse my very messy writing. It's not very good writing at all, is it? So let's have a look. It wants to know how many there are in a row across the river. So let's have a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 in each row. How many are there in each column? The column goes down, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 in each column. How many are there in a full box? Now, are we better at counting in 4s or are we better at counting in 5s? We're better at counting in 5s. So let's do that. So we've got 5, add 5, add 5, add 5 equals, are you ready? 5, 10, 15, 20. There are 20 in each box. Have a go at doing C by yourself.